few months ago I posted a video called An Introduction to Cornering, and in that video I introduced really the basic principles of good cornering on the road. So that was position on the approach, speed assessment for the corner, gear selection, positioning through the corner, and the principles of balancing the car on the throttle as you turn into, through, and then accelerate out of a corner. Now, I picked what I thought was an ideal road for that video. It's one of my favourite roads in North Wales. In hindsight, however, I think perhaps it was the wrong road for an introduction to cornering. Maybe it's a better road for a little bit more of the advanced stuff. So the problem with that road was that it was a very, very wide open moorland road with tremendous views through corners, through one corner to the next one, and sometimes to the next one after that. Now that allowed me to really go to the extremes of positioning for those corners, particularly when it came to an offside position. And whereas the video was an introduction to all the principles of good, safe cornering on the road, actually the one thing that most people focused on, or fixated on if you like, was offside positioning. There were some comments about I hope I don't meet you coming the other way, that type of thing. What if a motorcyclist coming the other way? Well, I can assure you that there was a very, very clear view through all of those corners where I was taking an offside position, both on approach and through the corners. But like I say, in hindsight, perhaps it wasn't the right road to choose for an introduction to cornering. And one or two other things struck me that perhaps weren't quite right in that video. The camera was mounted very low, so you didn't get as good a view as I was getting, which also perhaps made people think that I was going offside at times where it wasn't appropriate. So today I've got up really early in the morning and had a ride up to another one of my favourite roads, but it's a completely different type of road. This is the A686 between Penrith and Alston. We're going over the Hartside Pass shortly. A little bit of everything on this road. As you can see at the moment, we're limited by speed limits through the villages, but we'll move the car along in a few minutes. We'll get the car moving along quite nicely. But this road doesn't have, in most places, the wide open views that we had on the Welsh road. So what I'm going to be doing is, for when I'm talking about an offside position on the approach to corners, we're going to be limited a lot of the time to our own side of the road, or maybe just nipping a little bit off the white centre line. In places there'll be double white lines as well, which will prevent us from crossing over into the offside of the road. But at other times, occasionally, we will take some off the offside. What you'll probably see is, where we've got a limited view on the approach to a corner, we'll take some off the offside further back from the corner, and as we get closer to the corner, we'll bring a car back over towards the left-hand side of the white centre line. So let's start with that view. Look across the hedge to the left. Got a fantastic open view of the road up ahead there, but we haven't got a view into this zone of invisibility, this dip in the road. So we're going to be a little bit cautious on the way into that. And I'm keeping a position towards the white centre line, not over it at this stage, because I haven't got a view into the corner. The limit point look is starting to move away from us very nicely, so we can chase that limit point all the way around this corner. And only as we get towards the end of the corner do we tuck into the near side, then looking to get a good near side position on the approach to the next corner, which is a right-hander. So now I'm staying in towards the left-hand side of the road, into the near side, the best part of the near side, out of any grids or rubbish in the gutter. Not accelerating into this zone of invisibility, just waiting for the view to open up. Now again, here I'm not going to go across the white centre line, because it's not going to give me, I'm not confident that I've got a good view. We're at crossroads here, so I'm off the gas and I'm scanning left and right, looking into that junction. Once we get past the junction, back on the gas again. And as you can see from the hedge line there, the road's rolling just slightly off to the right, and I'm tucking into the near side. Now we can pick a little bit of speed up, and we've got a lovely view all the way through this corner here. Now here, there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking an offside position as we go through the corner. Get the advantage of the camber of the road, maybe not fully offside, but 3/4 offside. Straighten the bend, keep the car balanced, and keep a little bit of gas on. Looking into the distance now, I can see the road going around to the right. Again, here we've got a good view on approach, so I can take a little bit off the offside, but as we get closer to the corner, coming in towards the near side and staying to the left of the white centre line. So I'm off the gas because there's a junction, just staying away from that junction now. So we've got the view, and then back on the gas again. So extending our view now into the distance. We'll tuck into the near side once we pass this pigeon, and extend our view into the distance. The road's going round to the right, just a touch of brakes for this one. I'm tucked into the near side and staying near side most of the way around that corner there. So looking into the distance now, the road's going round to the right. Here we can take a lovely cross right across to the offside because we had a really nice view on approach. Down the gear. Just keep the car balanced through this corner. So let's try and get a view now as to where the road's going. It looks like the hedge line's going off to the right after this left-hander here. So there's the left. For the right-hander, we're tucking into the near side and keeping our position in towards the near side as we firm up the gas around the corner. Not going offside until I've got a view up the road and I can see there's nothing coming towards us. We'll nip a little bit off here on the way in, but as we get to the corner, we're back towards our side of the road, back towards the left of the white centre line. Here it's all tightening up a little bit. Trees, more limited view. So we're not carrying too much speed into here. A sign there warning us of oncoming vehicles in the middle of the road and coming into the village of Melmerby. So we make sure we're down to 30 when we come into the village. So as you can see, the positioning that I'm using on this road is nowhere near as extreme as the position I was using on the road in Wales. And really, on most British roads, this is the sort of positioning that we'll be looking at. So maybe this video should be an introduction to the basic principles of cornering. Maybe the other one is an introduction to a bit more advanced cornering, not sure. Maybe you should just watch both of them. We're coming out of the village now, sort of anticipating there'll be a change in speed limit. There it is. So I'm keeping second gear now to give me a nice bit of acceleration as we leave the village. Checking the mirrors, speedo, and firming the acceleration up. Looking at the right-hander in the distance, that's our next corner. So position on approach to that one is going to be in towards the near side, but I'm looking across the top of the hedges now to try and get a view of where the road's going. Look at the limit point, it's just starting to move now. So we know that Ben's not getting any tighter and we can start pressing the accelerator as that limit point moves away from us. Here we can take a little bit off the offside on approach, a little bit of brakes, and then it's going to be second gear. Looking to the left, balancing up the gas. We're not taking anything off the offside on the way out because we didn't have a view, and of course there was a car coming. I'm keeping second gear now into the near side, no need for any brakes. I'm keeping to the left of the white centre line here because of the limited view. Looking at the signs there, double bends, first one to the left, a slippery road surface for 3/4 of a mile. So easing off the gas now until I've got a view into the corner. And we can maybe take a little bit off the offside here, just a little bit, just to straighten it. We're on the gas all the way through, nice and smooth, keeping the car balanced. Tucking into the near side for the view into this one, straddling whatever that is in the centre of the road. Could have been a McDonald's wrapper, could have been a rock, so we'll keep either side of it. So you can see from the positioning now, because my view is much more limited than it was on that previous road, that the positioning isn't anywhere near as extreme as it was in the first video. Taking a little bit off the offside to some of these, where we've got the view. Here, for instance, go fully offside because we've got a view through to the left. To the near side here on the approach, keeping second gear. As you see where the limit point then tightened up on the way into that one, and we had to keep near side. No way we could take an offside position on approach. Our view is just limited a little bit by the sun as well. Keeping into the near side, limited view. Now we can go offside, and that helps us on the way into the left-hander. So for the right-hander, very limited view on approach, but as we go into the left-hander we can take some off the offside. A bit of a loose sheep on the offside there. I'll straighten this one because we've got the view. into third gear, tucking into the near side. First bends to the right, look at the limit point, it's not moving, so I'm on the brakes. Now it's starting to move, I'm off the brakes for second gear and just balancing the car on the throttle as we go around. Watch how it tightens up there. We've had a couple of these bends already. Now we can go a little bit offside, look through the trees, we've got the view. Fully offside here, we've got the view on the way in. A little bit late on the gas there. Tucking into the near side here. Now you can see we've been climbing all the way up this road now. And we're sort of getting out of the trees a little bit, it's opening up. And a nice view down to the left. I'm keeping into the near side. Straightening this one now. Again, we'll keep into the near side. If we can straighten this one, we will do. And we're tucking into the near side and a little bit of brakes because the limit point isn't moving. Now it is, second gear. So you can see how they were using the limit point to suss out how tight these corners are on approach. So again, we've got the left-hander which isn't particularly tight, but the right-hander is. The limit point is just where that banking is on the right-hand side. So we're down to second gear because it's coming towards us. Now it's opening up. As it opens up and we get the view through these corners, we can straighten them. We can straighten this one because we've got the view. Just making a note of the sign there, accompanied horses. Again, once we get the view, then we can go into the offside, but it's that near side position on the way into these little double corners. Now they're warning us about this corner. They haven't warned us about many on the way up this road, so this one's probably going to be quite tight. So we'll avoid the dead rabbit and then tuck into the near side on the brakes, then second gear, and see how tight that one was. And we kept near side, we kept to the left of the white centre line all the way through. Now we've got the view, we can go offside on the way in. And we can go offside on the way out as well because we've got the view, so we're nice and early on the gas. Just keeping second gear here for the right-hander. And again, warning us about this right-hander. The left-hander we can see, that's not a problem. I'm on the brakes in towards the right and to second gear. Keeping the vehicle into the near side. Now this road's opening up, this is beautiful. Beautiful that body. Look at the view we've got. Tremendous. Got the transit van coming towards us. So we can take a little bit off the offside on the way into this one. We'll be there long before the transit van. So get ourselves in. And here we've got a view all the way around to the left where that little white cottage is. The road goes around the back of that. So we can use the full width of the road. So I suppose towards the top end of this road, getting back into a bit of a road like the one we had in Wales, we can go fully offside, keep the car balanced, straighten these corners out. Straighten this one. Now we've got a slightly limited view here, so I'm staying near side until the view opens up. Look into the distance, we've got a chevron boards to the right, indicating a sharp deviation, checking the mirrors. We're on the brakes and it's going to be down to second gear for this one. I'm looking up to the right, but I'm going to stay towards the right of the white centre line until I've got the view, then we can nip off a bit on the way out of the corner. The view into the distance now. Look at the snow poles showing us where the road's going. Now we can straighten this right-hander here because we've got the view. Straighten this one and get the benefit. No, we can't because of the double white lines. So we were just going to go offside there, and then the double white lines prevented us from doing it, but we were okay. The speed wasn't too high. So we've crested the hill now. Let's get the view into the distance now as we go over this hill. We've got a lovely view of the road disappearing off. What a cracking morning. So here, view all the way through the corner. No need for any brakes. Little bit of gas as we go around. For the next one, a little bit of brakes here because it's a limited view and it's slightly tighter. Looking in the distance, I can see one car, maybe two cars coming towards us. They're a good mile or so off yet, so we can use the full width of the road on the way down the hill. And here it's tightening up. We're on the brakes. into third gear and staying near side because of the oncoming car. Just taking a little bit off the offside on the way out of the corner. I think I saw a reflection of another car a little bit further down the road, let's see. But here, again, lovely view. Straightening this, it's just a straight line, isn't it? Bit of a bumpy road surface, but even so, no brakes into this right-hander here. But then afterwards we'll be braking, taking some speed off, because we've got a limited view into this left-hander. Taking third gear. So let's just remind ourselves briefly of the basic principles cornering. Take the three main phases from the middle of the system of car control: position, speed and gear. So you want to be in the correct position on the approach, correct speed for the corner, correct gear for the corner, and then we add in the safe stopping rule, which is that you've always got to be able to stop on your own side of the road in the distance that you can see to be clear. And then there's my other principle as well, which is that to keep the car balanced, you should be applying at least a small amount of acceleration from very early on in the turn to get the car settled on its springs and balanced through the corner. So there's your principles. Position, the approach to a left-hander is as far offside as it's safe to go. So here it will be towards the white centre line, no further than that. Forget some of the stuff in the other video where we had a really open view. A bit further up this road now we'll get an open view again and we'll be going offside, but for corners like this where you've a limited view on the approach, it's going to be maybe just clipping the white centre line, nothing more than that. For right-handers, be near side position, and that's really just as far to the near side as it's safe to go. So in this case, yeah, towards the grass verge, but not on it and not on the gravel that's sort of bordering the grass verge. Speed we're going to assess mainly by using the limit point, but also if we can see the corner, then I have no issues using other methods to assess the speed of the corner. Here the limit point is just where the wall is on the right, and now the limit point at the corner in the distance is just to the left at the back of that car where the stone wall is. Now it's starting to move. As that limit point starts to move, that's when you realise that it's opening up, and we can take some off the offside then on the approach to the left-hander. So now for the corner that's coming up, just past the for sale sign there, just to the right of that you'll see the limit point. On the approach here, because if you look to the left you can see the road, you can see if there's anything coming, that means we can take a little bit more off the offside on the approach. And that offside position on approach gives us a very nice sort of extended view, an early view into the corner and an early indication of what the limit point's doing. But in the distance now, the limit point is on the right near the grass bank. It's just starting to move now, now it's moving. So as it starts to move, we can then see that the bend isn't getting any tighter. If it slows down, if the movement of the limit point slows down, then we can tell that the road's getting, the corner's getting a little bit tight. We've got the cyclist in the distance now, and past the cyclist it looks like the road's going, well, over a little crest in the hill. Over a little crest in the road, sorry. So, passing a cyclist to give them plenty of room. I think now we're going to start picking the pace up a little bit, so I'll take third gear, give a little bit more acceleration. And now look at the distance now. The road drops down into a dip. We've got a view into that dip now. So we're straddling the white centre line. The benefit of that really here is that we're avoiding these pitted pieces of tarmac in the road. Now where the snow pole is, the road looks like it's going around to the right, so I'm not checking the mirrors, I'm moving into the near side. No brakes, but I'm taking third gear just to balance us. So position, speed and gear are correct. As we get to the corner, we turn the wheel and just accelerate. So I need to watch what I'm doing with my feet on the pedals through these next series of bends. I say my feet on the pedals, it's really just what my right foot's doing on the accelerator. So here we're keeping the car balanced with a nice press of the accelerator. There we can go offside. Here we can't because of the double white lines. So a little bit of brakes, keeping third gear, I'm tucking into the near side, and again we're limited here by the white lines. So now we've got a bit more of an open view. We can straighten some of these corners. This little building on the right here always reminds me of Edward and Tubbs' little shop on League of Gentlemen, a local shop. Offside position on approach here because we've got a full view right the way through the corner. Third gear and then accelerate through, balancing the car on the throttle. Then we're tucking into the near side because that's the best position on the approach to a right-hander. Keeping the gas on. Now we can straddle the white centre line. I'm going for fourth, but actually we don't really need it because if I lift off, rather than having to brake then, that's just going to give us enough engine braking, if you like, acceleration sense to get the speed right for the corner. Okay, so looking in the distance now, we've got this very sharp left-hander coming up. I have to stay on the brakes here right up to the corner, so what I'm going to do is just heel and toe it down into second gear. That's just to raise the revs whilst we're still braking. It's not something I do very often on the road, but it does help keep the car balanced by allowing a nice smooth gear change whilst remaining on the brakes. So this section of road here, which we drove up before, we know we've got a lovely view through most of these corners. We can take an offside position where we've got that view. So there we're taking advantage of the full width of the road. Looking in the distance now, you can see the road bending off round to the right and the left, and then around that little bit of a hill. That's the one that we haven't got a view into. So prior to that, we can use plenty of width of the road here. And we can even take some off the offside on the way into this right-hander there, go fully offside. Now it's this one here that we haven't got the view into. So for this one, I'm staying more or less to the left of the white centre line until the view opens up. Look at the limit point. Watch the limit point in these corners. As that limit point starts moving, we know that the road isn't getting any tighter, or that the corner isn't getting any tighter. This one, the limit point's fairly stationary now. Now it's gone and we've got a view through the corner, but we would never go offside on the way into something like that, or this, because of the limited view. Now here we can go offside, and there we're taking advantage of the crown camber by nipping onto the other side of the road, and it just helps us around that bend. Here we can go offside on the way in. Most people that were criticising offside position on the way in, really does give you a huge advantage if you've got the view. The advantage is keeping the car balanced. For this one though, absolutely no view, so we wouldn't go offside on the way in. So looking in the distance now, just about where that corner is, we've got the road going around to the left. You've got to bear in mind on roads like this where you're going downhill for some considerable time, we are relying on the brakes. They can get warm, so just be sensitive to how that brake pedal feels. If it starts feeling mushy, softer, just take some speed off. Reduce your speed so you're not relying on the brakes as much. It just means they're getting a little bit too warm. Somebody enjoying a hot air balloon over there in the distance. Nice view this morning. So here, I've got a view into the right-hander, but not all the way through it, so I'm not going offside on this one. Staying near side all the way around. And you can see where we've got those open stretches. It's nice to sort of stretch the car's legs, really move it along, use the full width of the road. But on these tighter stretches, this is what I was saying about this road having a bit of everything really. These tighter stretches are all with more limited view, bumpier road surface, trees, walls, hedges. We've just got to rein it in a little bit. We still make good progress, don't get me wrong, and it's still good fun to drive these roads, but we wouldn't go offside here for instance because we just can't see until we're at least 3/4 of the way around the corner. Look at the limit point there, it's going away from us just at a steady pace, so we wouldn't hammer into a corner like that. Look at the changing road surface there as well. The sort of yellowy coloured road surface, what we used to call shell grip, it's probably got a different trade name now, but it's got a higher grip, a higher coefficient of friction than normal sort of tarmac or normal metal roads. And they tend to put it where people slide off the road, where they have difficulty getting the speed down for junctions, things like that, just to give you a little bit more grip with your tyres on the road surface. So when you see that yellowing road surface from a distance, it's an indication that the corner might be sharper than you were expecting it to be. So here, through these little series of bends, very tight, we're keeping the car to the left of the white centre line through most of these corners, because we just haven't got the view to be able to go offside. We have just on the way out there, we needed to avoid that fallen tree, but you know, we're limiting ourselves much more to the left hand side of the road. So only there, just towards the end of the corner, that we take a little bit off the offside. So I'm hoping this is sort of answering some of the questions that people were asking about offside position, and that, you know, we're only doing it where it's appropriate, we're only doing it where we've got the view. I'm hoping that the different camera angle, the camera fitted on the roof, has given you better view. So it's a view that's a little bit more similar to what I've got. It's probably better than I've got, actually. It's a little bit higher than my eye line. Here we've got the shell grip I was talking about, so where people might have had problems in the past and gone off that corner, put the higher grip road surface down. Anyway, that's the A686 Hartside Pass, 7:30 on a Sunday morning. I can't recommend it enough. You get up here nice and early before the bikers have got out of bed, you pretty much get the road to yourself. And what a fine piece of road it is as well, very nice. That's it for today. I hope we've cleared up some of those questions about cornering and positioning, particularly offside position. Make sure you subscribe. I've got plans for plenty more videos throughout the year. You'll get an email every time I post a new video if you subscribe. And don't forget to go and have a look at the new website, www.reglocal.com. But for now, I'm Reg Local, and thanks for watching.